All right, we'll just start in about 5 minutes or so. All right, I'm actually showing you the pound versus the dollar chart on the 1 hour chart at the moment. If you guys have got any questions on that or gold or any other instruments, I mean there are a few instruments that has been sent to me in request of more information, especially with the pound versus the dollar as well as the gold. All clear, Tariq. Thank you very much. How are you doing? How has your trading been? It's been a very volatile week, lots of movements as I've mentioned last week, expected this week. So we're looking at loads of defiance as well. A lot of patterns have gone different directions as well, but we are going to analyze them for a few pairs, and there are still levels to consider. Okay, and trends as well. All right, we've got, I'm showing you guys the GBP versus the pound. A lot of you guys are wondering what on earth is happening to the pound versus the dollar. We have got breaks of various support resistant areas as well, but we are looking at technically a pattern, a huge W-like pattern there. So it's signaling, I think that one there, it's wrong. We've got B here, let's say. Oh, no, B is there. Sorry, that's for that separate pattern. Give me a second. Let me just insert the A, B, C, D for that. X here. Give me a second. I'm just preparing, guys. Not to worry, I've not started just yet. For those who've just arrived, just give me a couple of minutes more and we shall get into it. I'm just labeling this W-like pattern that has been spotted for the pound versus the dollar. Okay. C is right here. Alright guys, once more I'm just labeling the huge W-like pattern that we could see for the 1 hour chart on the GBP versus the dollar, and we're looking at XA. That's supposed to be, that's B supposed to be here, sorry about that, and that should be D, so I'll just change that, give me a second. That's where roughly it's projected, but it doesn't mean that that will happen right away. I'll explain that more once we start. Okay, for the W-like pattern on the pound versus the dollar, it's really tricky this week because not 100% failed pattern. We did got accurate pattern spotted. It's just that the patterns got bigger. Okay, so this is a W pattern for the GBP versus the dollar, and it is a bearish-like pattern, which means that the C is currently progressing towards D, but whether or not it will reach exactly the D, I'll explain a little bit later on. There's a couple of hints by the pattern itself, so there's a lot of hints by pattern that are spotted. Showing us some rise, but lots of corrections as well for the pound versus the dollar. Okay, we're just looking at the 1 hour chart, and this is the sort of pattern. If I go onto my 4 hour chart, that's how the pattern looks like there. Okay, but notice that I have got two patterns here. The big one is the XAB. Meanwhile, waiting, you guys could take a look at that pattern here for the pound versus the dollar on the 1 hour chart. You'll see XABCD, the one that is the pattern that is how do you call that, labeled in using these red lines or red legs. They are called the bearish W-like pattern. Okay, but I've got something here in gray as well, like a little Z-like pattern going on as well. So, but we will talk about it in detail. Okay, Vitautus, how are you doing, Vitautus? I'm very well, thank you. And you have got a question here about, yes, I have, Vitautus. I've checked your coffee, and the analysis that you have provided me with looked to me like you've done well on it. And how did it go, by the way? How was the performance for coffee? Did the performance for coffee went well for you? I mean, from the pattern that you've drawn? I think I've got your coffee. The coffee that you're looking at is on here. I think it did went really well. Did go up to that level there, yeah, for the AB versus CD, as you can see, to 127.19 when you're on the long for it, or a buy position, and then it went through the support resistance, as you can see, laid out in purple horizontal lines, and then it came back all the way down. Now this one here is quite a nice light pattern due to the fact that it may have been a nice W-like pattern as well, a bearish W-like pattern. Let me just throw that out. Give me a second. There we go. Yeah, this is for coffee on the 1 hour chart. So we're looking at coffee on the 1 hour chart. When we spoke last week, right, Tautus, I think you were looking at the A, B, C, D here, and it did actually reach that D area. Let's look at where the C have actually gone to 61.8. So it may have, yes, 1.618. That was the target here, around here, that line there at 128.27, and that should be your sort of take profit area before 128.27 area, in within there, and then take a sort of short like order once you have seen it coming under this area here, which is what's exactly happening. So we have got actually that's your E here, you know, we have X here, A, B, C, D around here, and then E to trade downwards as well. So you were supposed to trade C to D on the long side, and on the short is the D to E side of it. So both legs went quite well. So how did it go for you then? Daily chart for entry, I see. Now, Vitaltus, I would like to mention a little bit about the daily entry side of things. At the moment, you're asking of whether or not I think that it has steam to the upside. Not as of now based on the 1 hour chart, because you see, this is what we're talking about earlier on about the pattern. A W-like pattern is a bearish pattern, which means once it's reached around the D area, it most probably will signal a downward move. Okay, so you are supposed to look at trades from C to D on the long side, and then D to E on the short side. Aim it at 50% or 61.8, and then that's it. You take a minimum of 60 to 80 pips on one leg, and then on the other leg, D to E as well, you take about 60 to 80 pips, and that's usually the way that we trade these kind of pattern. But if you're looking at a daily chart, we have got second. On the daily chart, we do have a sort of potential downward move as well. The reason for that is because that leg has been created, and you've got an A here, B, C, so very likely a downward move here. Okay, I'll just draw that very quickly before we start. We have got a pattern like this for coffee at the moment, so this is progressing at the moment here. Okay, that is progressing downwards here, so we need to look at, this is your C, all right, that's your B here, that's your A, okay, and that's your X. This is an M-like pattern, and usually once it's reached around here, we'll make a way up. So there is still a bit of a long way down actually for coffee at the moment. Okay, all right guys, I would need to welcome you guys now and start our session. Okay, give me a second, let me just erase all drawings. Okay, let's go back to the GBP. Let's see. Hi Vitaltus, you've missed the daily entry here, 127 at reverse. Okay, 12710 was where you wanted to enter a buy, Vitaltus, for the coffee, you mean? Ah, I see, I see. I mean, we looked at it from the pattern that you've drawn, it was correct for the ABCD on the upward move, but it was quite close to the D area already, you know, but if you look at the bigger pattern now, if you look into the daily chart as I've shown you, it's showing a C to D on the downside. Okay. All right, guys, let us go back now to the GBP USD first, okay, because lots of traders are into a sell or a short, most of them for the GBP USD. They're asking what's happening to the GBP USD and whether or not it's time for it to start falling or there more room for it going upwards, and what's going on with Britain, and why is it that we are seeing prices going up now more than it is falling. Okay, so just before that, let me just check on the questions. Give me a second, guys. All right, I think we have got quite a number of people already in, so I would like to welcome everyone to today's sessions. Today is Monday, the 25th of April, 2016, and you are on Monday's live session every Monday at 2 p.m. GMT. Okay, so if there are any changes of time, I'll definitely let you know. Let us get to it. At the moment, it is 20 past 4 at the moment here in Limassol, Cyprus. Okay, we are looking at the GBP USD 1-hour chart. Now, we look at it from a big perspective. This is what I have drawn and spotted. This is a W-like pattern. Now, a W-like pattern, a huge W-like pattern, as you can see on my screen, is for the GBP versus the dollar, and this usually signifies a bit of a downtrend after it has reached the D point. I'm not saying it will exactly go right up there, but there are rooms for it as well to go up here. But again, it's not a straight line, meaning you have got correction and then correction and then go up. Okay, so this is what's going on at the moment. That's why there's a lot of disappointed traders as well, looking into the GBP USD on a long, and then they're looking at huge corrections on the downside. Okay, now this is what's going on at the moment for the GBP versus the dollar. You're looking at prices moving upwards here. This is where prices are at the moment at 1.4476. Now, if you guys can remember, if prices, they are going up at the moment, it is going up at the moment. You can see no, prices has gone up a little bit, but then made a bit of a correction at the moment. Now, why did it make that correction as well? Has got reasons behind the psychological level. As you can see, it stopped there. Let me just move that down. It stopped there at this area here at 4519. Now 4519 or 4520, okay, it is right on the dot of the psych level of 20, hence the reason it's making that move, usually within 10 pips of the psych number or psych numbers of 20, 50, 00 and 80. These are based on the last two digits, so hence the reason it's making a bit of correction. But this one is a bit tricky here. Why? Because we have got prices moving upwards, okay, down, up, down, but then it's potentially targeting this area here in D, okay. But in this big W-like pattern, what the W pattern usually signals is that prices would go upwards from C to D. Now, usually in a pattern like this, a W-like pattern, we usually don't trade the B to C or the A to B. We usually trade the C to the D, and then once it starts to come downwards, that is called the D to E leg. So you are aiming at trading from C to D and also D to E. We usually aim, you know, really small, not huge number of pips between the 60 to 80 on one leg and then another 60 to 80 on the other leg. Now, this is what's going on. It's really volatile. As you can see, it's not clean. It's not clean, meaning the movement, as you can see, from C to D or even B to C or even A to B, it's really choppy. This is what we call choppy. Choppy is very volatile. We've got loads of movement up and down, a lot of corrections, a lot of waves. Okay, so they're not clean. Now, the cleaner the movement usually from B to C and A to B, then the cleaner the movement usually is as well C to D, and hence the reason you look at how volatile B to C was, and hence the reason you're looking at similarly very volatile from C to D. Okay, within this huge W pattern, I have spotted a potential Z-like pattern like this. Here inside this pattern we have got a Z-like pattern, which means that anytime soon it should make a bit of correction, but again it'll correct itself up again. That's a potential of that kind of pattern, the Z-like pattern that we can see. Okay, I've got a question here from Mr. Gunnison. Mr. Gunnison says, currently I trade GBP USD. Yes, correct. Sell minus 67. Yes, okay. Not too big, but okay. 67, not 670, but $67. All right. Okay. So you started at 1.4131. Okay, and then any advice? Okay, sure. Now, Mr. Gunnison has actually traded the GBP USD at, let me just write this down, at 1.413, let's say 4132, that is, right? You have sold at that level, and then your stop loss level at 4598. Okay. Okay, let's see where prices is 4481. All right, good. Let's look at it. Let's analyze that further. Okay, in order for us to analyze that further, we need to zoom in. So I'm just going to change that. Okay. Right, let's zoom in. Okay, let's zoom in and see what's going on in terms of price. Let's look at that. Look at what's going on here. As you can see, we have got some movement up, correct? Let's zoom in a little bit more. Okay, right. Look at what's going on here. Okay, we have got prices. First of all, price action. Price action, look at the last two digits. What's the last two digits telling us? 1.4480. Prices coming downwards at the moment, correct? Now, we want to be sure, or we want to know whether or not prices could actually have more momentum coming down. We need to wait until prices or candles go under the 80 psych numbers. 80 is your exact psych number, so it has to go under the 70, under 10 pips under the 80 psych numbers at least. So we're looking at 1.4470 and below, and only then could we actually see more momentum on the downside. Okay, there is a risk here though. There's a risk. What does the risk mean? You are on a sell, Mr. Ganesan, but then we've got price going up here, correct, and then down, correct, and then correcting itself up. The risk is that there may be a possibility of a ABCD like pattern on the upside. Okay, so we need to know how far more could it actually go if this were to be an ABCD pattern, and if it does go up, how much more in a number of pips that will be at loss that you will be actually looking at potentially. Okay, then you can decide whether to close a trade, whether is that the amount of loss that you're willing to take, and things like that. Okay, so what we do next is let us plot this potential ABCD at the moment. Okay, let's just do the let's say we're taking somewhere here, but always before you draw them out, just try them on using the Fibonacci first. Okay, meaning that let's say your A is somewhere here. Let's take the A from here and we go on to A, and then the B is around here. I'll just take that C away for now, not to confuse you. You've got A here, B, C. You could see that C has landed at 38.2. Okay, now let us use the AB equals CD first, like that. Okay, double click and all the way up. As you can see, if at all prices don't come down, there is still a potential of it going upwards. Okay, so upwards at 4553. Now you have your stop loss at 4598, still far from your stop loss. Okay, but the problem here is that if at all you're looking at a potential going upwards, okay, and you want to cut your losses, you could might as well cut your losses early at that level that you want, as opposed to keeping that on and then going upwards more, because at the moment we have got more chances of it as of now for it to go more on the upside as opposed to downside. We will look into that on the 4-hour as well as the daily chart for the GBP USD. But what's going on now from the fundamental or geopolitical sense is that we have had a lot of threats by the US government, not threats, but you know, we have got the president of the states, Obama himself, have mentioned a lot of things with regards to not going out of the eurozone. You know, he would prefer, he's pro for the Brexit not happening, and he has actually came up with a how do you call that, with a comment saying that it's easier for the states to assist or aid Britain, to aid the EU than to aid Britain. That means it's easier for them to help the EU zone. They are more open in helping the EU zone as opposed to helping UK. So it is actually a little bit of a negativity towards the Brexit. Okay, but the thing as well is that we have got loads of investors are going against the idea of a Brexit because they feel that their investments are more secure within the Eurozone, even though it is in the UK, as opposed to having it in UK alone and not the Eurozone. Okay, so a lot of this is actually a tug of war. A lot of people think at the moment that the Brexit won't happen. Okay, and if you guys notice, they have actually talked a lot about how much gold UK has, how much investment UK has, and it's just a couple of days since Thursday last week, we have got loads of positiveness in the media about how good Britain is and things like that. But this is actually a sort of politics played to market the idea of Britain being in the Eurozone, not exit the Eurozone. Okay, so hence the reason we're looking at this. So this is the threat, this is the risk at the moment, Mr. Dennison. You're looking at ABCD here, for example. Okay, we have got it there. So if it does not come down, the risk of it going up is going up to that level here at 4550 over. So that is again very close to the psych numbers there. Okay, as you can see, 4555 is very close to the 50 psych numbers. So if at all anyone who are actually buying at the moment and things like that and looking at more momentum to the upside, you should be looking at exiting at 4540 if you are on a buy, because 40 is actually 10 pips below the 50 psych numbers. Okay, so that's basically what's going on with the GBP USD. Now I would like to show you again on the big picture, okay, how the W looks like at the moment here. So as you can see, huge space, still a lot of space. If I am on the 4-hour chart, we are looking at you know, more spaces at a 46.54, so another 100 over pips for it to go up potentially. I'm not saying it will 100%, but the pattern itself is showing a possibility of it. Now the trend wise, it is still on a very strong upside. You can look at the angle as well on 1 hour, 4 hour, as well as the daily chart. Look at the angle itself. For those who have attended my training knows now how to look at angles, okay, your clock angles and things like that, and you can see that that is actually a very strong sign. Now we have drawn the ABCD, or ABCD is here aiming at there, so that is another area of support resistance where prices could just reverse at that area, but then make a correction, go up again, and then you've got a reversal there again. So this is risky times, but then I'm just laying out the risk there. If at all you are on the short side, okay, make sure you know how much risk you are willing to take and measure how much more it could potentially go up, so that you know whether or not that is the amount of risk you are willing to take, or you would like to just cut your losses short at this moment of time and re-enter on the direction of the trend, which is looking like it's on the upside as of now. Okay, even though it's on the upside for the pound, you're looking at a W-like pattern, which means that once it reaches at the D area or close to the D area, there are actually potential reversals that may actually happen for the pound versus the dollar. When we just quickly go on to the daily chart, we are looking at a total different picture here, because if you guys could remember, we are looking at overall, we're looking at from the daily or even the weekly chart, we have got more space to the downside. okay, on the long term. So with that long term scenario, we're looking at possibility of a B, C, D pattern to the downside, okay? And that W-like pattern you see is strengthening the idea of it a downside. But at this stage, from the shorter term until the 4-hour chart, we're looking at possibility of the upward move as a correction. But overall, as you can see, for the long traders, for traders on the long term, you're looking at more downside as well. But again, we want to be sure that if you're trading intraday, I want to advise you, if you're trading intraday, meaning that you want to look at your profit closed by the day, then you want to actually not look at daily chart. A lot of traders make this mistake. They want to look at their trades closing within 24 hours, but then they look at daily chart. Daily chart is not for intraday. Daily chart is long term. Okay, so if you're looking at daily chart or 4-hour chart, it's good for you to look at these longer term charts for longer term trends or trends, focusing on trends, okay, focusing on what the trends are in the longer term charts, but not to trade them and expect, not to look at a daily chart, place your daily chart trades, but expect your returns within 24 hours. It just doesn't work that way. Okay, so best is for you to look at a trend, look at charts and patterns. Let's say now looking at the daily chart, you know that you've got an ABCD, you know that it's got more what do you call that, space to the downside, but you would need to go and check on the 1-hour chart and look at whether you have got other patterns that confirms that. At the moment, we have got ABCD pattern on the upside much more, and we have got this huge potential of an upside move from this W-like pattern from C to D. So we want to move again to the lower time frame if we are expecting your returns within 24 hours. So you could see what's going on now, for example, with the 5 minutes chart, for example. And then if you zoom in, you can then look at, yes, there are potential of A, B, C, D here, but this is what's going on now, a bit of correction here. So you want to trade in stages. If you look at a big pattern on the upside, you want to look at smaller patterns in smaller time frames also on the upside. And it's similar with the downtrend too. Okay, but always you want to check on the lower time frame, and if you want to take the ride on shorter terms, it's best for you to, it is of lower risk if you manage your trades by trading in stages. If you look at this one very big pattern and then you want to just trade by stages and not leave your trade, then you've got your how do you call that, risk lowered a little bit, because you can then measure that you have reached your risk level, and you just close that trade so that you cut your losses early and re-enter the trade. You see. All right, I've got many requests in looking at gold as well, so I'll just move very quickly to gold. Meantime, if you've got questions, save it until the end in another 10-15 minutes or so, then you ask the questions and we'll go onto it again. Okay, so at the moment we have got lots of questions about gold. What's going on with gold? Okay, now gold, let us just look at this. We have had a very good trade previously with an ABCD on a downside. Okay, now this one here, I just want to let you know, we have had a sort of pattern that we expected for it to move as such, an A, B, C, D, but that pattern failed. Okay, that pattern failed. That means it didn't actually reach there alone. It actually made a correction and it went higher. All right, went higher. So it's not a very nice ABCD this way. Why is it not a very nice ABCD? Because usually the A, if it started from here, it should be longer, should be much longer. Let us start from scratch for gold, okay, because we've got quite a number of people trading gold, and let's see what's going on with gold. Okay, let's clear this and start from scratch. Let's look at the 1-hour chart. Okay, I want you to again start. This is the lesson that we always learn, is to always focus on the trend, because there's a lot of complications with GBP USD, for example, but the trend was quite clear that it has lots of room on the upside, and it did actually benefited from an upward momentum quite a lot. Okay, so that's the reason why. So we're looking at here on the gold 1 hour chart, and we're looking at behavior of candles. Look at the behavior of candles here. Look at how choppy it has been for gold. Okay, and then we start from scratch of how we determine the trend. Now let's look at this one here. We have had most recent movement with loads of strength on the downside. We have got lots of strength. Of course, a lot of you may ask me, why is it we're hearing a lot of strength for gold? Gold is strengthening, dollar is crashing, and all that. Yes, it may be true, but it's just that the timing may not be exactly, it may not be, hence the reason we need to confirm with what's going on here. So now we have got longish candles coming down. Give me a second, I'm just getting a sip of water. Alright, so we have got, let's say, we have got prices here. As you can see, if I zoom in, look at the strength of bearish like candles. Okay, now this whole move here, you could see that there are more bearish like stronger candles compared to bullish candles, correct? We have got more movements, and the ankle itself is aiming to the 6 o'clock. All right, and then it corrected itself. Once it corrected itself, it corrected to very close to the EMA line. So that actually means that sometimes these EMA lines could act as a wall, and they are also acting as support resistance lines as well. Okay, so what does that mean? Prices came downwards really strongly and then correct itself. But once it corrected itself, okay, it's starting to stop and think very close to the EMA area. So it is resisting. So they are resistance level here. So once you see resistance level here, always look left, whether you could see support and resistance area. Okay, so once I've done that, I will draw, let's say I concentrate on that area here. Okay, and I can see that there's a lot of concentration of candles here. Okay, let's say I would like to use this family of candles here to draw my support resistance line. So then I use that candle there, and then I'll take that wick, as I can see here. So I've got a zone. Okay, always remember, never draw a support resistance line, a single line. It's best for you to draw a support resistance zone. Okay, then once I've done that, I see whether I've got long candles going through it. I've got a lot of support, I've got some resistance around this area, I've got some resistance here as well. So I'll consider that as my support resistance, and I've got a very nice resistance here. I've got some support here as well. Okay, and then I go back and I see loads and loads of other resistances I can see. Okay, give me that. And then long candles through here. So okay, let us just consider these lines as my support resistance. So what does that mean? That means there is a possibility of prices, once it's done that move here, to actually correct itself. So that may be my A, that may be my B. Okay, that may be my C at this area, and then come back down. So there are still resistance, okay, going on with gold. It's not shown us a lot of how do you call that, exact. We're looking at 1 hour for now though. Okay, that is the correction that we can actually see happening. Okay, so let us pull our Fibonacci, pull the Fibonacci, and look at where potentially could prices go. You see, I do not consider the 23.6 as a good Fibonacci level. Okay, I'll take it from 38.2 onwards. So 38.2 rests exactly as where I have plotted my support resistance line. So that's a good sign. We have got some coincidences. Coincidences in trading, when you draw the line and when you pull the Fibonacci, are good coincidences. Okay, so we have got that. So let's say technically if prices does go up, a bit more, it might go up to that level here, because this is where the wall is between 1243.91 and 1242.89. This is where prices could resist and then come back down. If at all it's got some more fundamentals, something big happening, and then you see long candles penetrating through this wall, come back and then bounce up more, then you've got more strength on the upside. So it needs some long candle or a number of candles to penetrate through that wall and give you more push to the upside. At this moment of time, we're looking at possibility for prices to bounce off around that area here and then come back down. Okay, it might just trick us a little bit to show us that it might actually go through all these three lines, but then we've got a wall here, okay, for it to penetrate through. If it doesn't, then you've got more chances for it to come back down, and this could easily just be a sort of correction. Look at what prices are doing now. Let's look at price by itself. 1239. 1239 is really close to a 1240. Okay, 1240 is only 10 pips below the 50. Okay, the 50 number. So we have got the 50 way up here, around here. All right. Okay, this is another area to consider resistance as well. Okay, prices could just go up, trick you a little bit, and then bang down again. But let's look at trend wise. Okay, we have got support. Okay, lots of support, support, support. We got higher lows, higher lows, higher lows, and then more higher lows. We've got prices trying its best to penetrate through. Okay, let's look at daily. Okay, let's look at angle. Still on a safe upside at the moment, but that is based on the daily chart. We go to the hourly chart, we do have some support created at the 50, and we're trying to look at whether prices could go above this 200. Once it does, above this area here, which is 1256, you see it's above the 50 side area. Okay, then you're clearer for it to have more strength to go on the upside. All right, so this is very, very important for us to know. At least you know now that you would need to look at the 50 plus area for it to go above that. Okay, so if you're experiencing losses at the moment, the losses could be due to this correction at the moment and more pressure to the downside. Okay, so hence the reason it is important for us to look at this as a potential risk area of an ABCD. This can be your risk area, meaning that an expectation for prices to go down because your position at the moment is on the upside. On the buy side, majority of traders are expecting crash of the dollar and appreciation of the gold. Okay, but you need to think of risk. Don't think of the potential profits as of now. Think of the risk. The potential risk of it is prices to go down as low as here. Okay, if at all this ABCD materializes. Okay, because earlier on when I've pulled this A to B, I found my C to be at 38.2%. Okay, so I'll just draw that. So this is potentially an ABCD that may actually work. We don't know that yet. So if at all I use my Fibonacci, I want to look at the 224 to 261 as my potential target. So that is another area they could potentially reach. So prices could well come down before it go up first to this level here between 1207 and 1201. So this is the risk area. I'm not saying it will happen for sure. We don't know yet. Let's look at what's going on in this area first. Let's look at whether prices for gold would actually bounce off from this area first. Let's zoom in a little bit more. Look at what's going on, candle by candle. Look at how the lines behaved as well. They're entangling. There's a lot of uncertainty as well. So we cannot be sure that it will actually just, bounce off from there. It might just go through it, but at this stage it's probably best to wait and see, just for candles to do what at this stage here. Okay, so this is where we need to be really careful. If we go onto the daily chart, as you can see, the daily chart, we are just talking about these candles here. See, just a few candles here to do that ABCD downwards, but again, it's concentrated in a range at the moment as well for the goal. Okay, right? It's concentrated in this area here. So there's a lot of consolidation going on. There's a lot of thinking, a lot of uncertainty. Okay, even with gold, that's the range here. But if at all I draw a line, we have got prices behaving such a way. Let me just get rid of that. Okay, this is for gold, guys. Okay, and prices are behaving in such a way.
I was just wondering if you have received my email with the
Okay, now we have got a sort of triangle. Okay, that actually also means that prices will keep going like this. Okay, right, in this triangle before it breaks up or down. Okay, so that's what's happening in that angle. Okay, but if at all we look into another logic behind what's going on, we also have a sort of downwards pattern like this. Okay,
By the way, I wanted to let
that
you know
is
that
if I'm drawing a channel. If I draw a channel, I can see that there is a chance for prices to move in this channel as well. Okay, like this, more volatile. Okay, how far we don't really know, but the news for this is that if at all it is moving accordingly to a channel like this, then this might confirm a flag and pole pattern like this. If it does, then it will confirm that it's most likely to go up. Alright, and if it does go up from this point onwards, it might be the length of this pole that you can see. So that is the upward move. Okay, so we have got two logic behind what may go on, what kind of pattern. You got that triangle and then this pole and flag, okay, pattern. And as of now, we would need to go to your lower time frame and follow what's going on in shorter time frame to look at progresses. Okay, as I have explained earlier on, this is where the risk area is. Okay, there is a risk of it performing a ABCD sort of movement. Okay, but then if we go on to the 5-minute chart, let's look at what's going on. Okay, sorry guys. So we're looking at, if you're looking at the 5 minutes chart for gold, okay, could anyone spot any sort of pattern here? What could you guys see on the 5-minute chart? Are there any potential, you think? Let's look at how prices are moving. 1, 2, 3, 8 area. Okay, we have got something here. Let's say whether you guys have spotted that one here. That's a potential ABCD style pattern here. Okay, and I'll take that one all the way up here, down. Okay, this is what's happening as of now. Okay, so we look at prices concentrated in that area. Okay, and then now it's on the 5-minute chart is heading downwards. On the 1 hour, we have looked into a lot of resistance in that area, and then we check on the 5 minutes. It looks like it's playing on a downward move, but the risk is, again, if it does go up, it's looking at that area here as a potential target, but it looks like prices have decided to concentrate there. So that's the uncertainty area there before it heads down or up. So it is quite a bit of a risky area to trade for gold at this moment of time, because we do have that as a challenge as well on the 1 hour chart. Okay, and we do also have prices trading under the 40. 1,238 is actually under 40 already. So under 40 usually gives a bit of a hint on strength to the downside. Okay, so if it does, then this would be an ABCD side formation to look at prices coming down more than going up. Okay, since we're looking at the gold, let's look at the dollar at the moment. What's going on with the dollar? We'll perhaps start with the 1 hour chart. As you can see, we have got a bit of a strength there, an angle, a bit of a correction. Okay, on the downside, there's most likely a bounce upwards. If this were to bounce upwards, then you're looking at USD moving in opposite direction for gold. That's a bit of a theory, not a for sure thing. Okay, but this is what may transpire, is for it to bounce upwards. So that is going on for gold, for USD versus JPY. And here we have got lots of upward move, and then this may be a sort of support because it's just hanging through the USD, the 200 exponential moving average. So if at all gold is giving more signal to the upside, bouncing off from the EMAs, then we have got more possibilities for weakness on the gold, as we have actually mentioned earlier on, for it to have resistance at this area here. Okay, so we are comparing between movement of gold and USD JPY, and we see that there may be a synchronicity. One may confirm the other. Okay, and here, as you can see, even on daily chart, it may actually prove to have more resistance. So it's got resistance for the USD JPY, started here with the 1 hour chart, support first here, but then on the longer term we have got resistance. So what does that mean? We have seen more support on the goal on the long term, and we see more resistance here on the longer term for the dollar. So that does actually give a bit of um, a convergence, or two things that actually sort of match at the moment. Okay, sure, Vitalis, no problem, most welcome. We'll see you again soon. Take care. Alright, so that's basically it. There's some who want to look at gold. We're looking at the resistance area. We've got a bit of support here on the oil 4 hour chart. Let's see what we could have. Okay, let's zoom in a little bit. Okay, we have got here for oil on the 4 hour chart. Let's look at something here. We have got something quite interesting for oil. Okay, we're looking at the 4 hour chart on oil. As you guys can see, we have got this here, a pole. Okay, and then we got a downward move. All right, this downwards move could easily be a flag channel. Okay, because I've got a single candle here that acts as a pole. Okay, so then I lower this one here. So let's say we just take that one here. This could give me a potential flag and pole pattern, which means that there is a possibility of it breaking out, coming back in a little bit, and then up all the way. But the upward move could be similar in length with this pole here. Okay, so you need to measure that pole. Let's see. Let's take this pole length, okay, and put it starting from here, and this is an area at 45.92, a possibility for it to reach there if at all it breaks out, corrects itself, and heads upwards. So this is a pole and flag pattern though. Okay, this is what's going on the 4 hour chart. On the 1 hour chart, we see again a potential pole-like pattern here, but it's not really a nice pattern at the moment, with a channel that's, you know, not slanting downwards too much, but still it is a possibility here. Okay, we could also see an A here, B around here, C, and then upward move. Okay, on the 1 hour chart. On the daily chart, it looks to me like some signals even on the long term to be on the upside for oil. Whether there are clear reasons to why fundamentally, we don't have it as yet, but they might just come up, might just pop up, we never know. So there are reasons to believe that prices are correcting at very significant level area at 200 moving average, and then giving it more rise to the upside for oil. Okay. Anything that we could see on silver at all? Yes, on silver it looks like a correction to the downside on the 1 hour chart, similar to gold, a bit slower than gold. Gold is falling, silver is falling too, but it is falling behind gold as well. Now here, total opposite pole. We've got a single pole here, but what's happening? We have got a channel up. Now this is a sign if we've got a bearish type of flagpole pattern. So what does that mean? That means that there is potential for prices to, once broken, to actually mirror the length of this long candle you can see. And let's see if it breaks out, perhaps around here. That is a potential here, and if we take that longer, there is another potential if it breaks out at that level to join here. Okay, but let's ignore all that and take that as an ABCD downwards. Okay, so for silver, let's pull A to B, look at 61.8, look at how much it has landed it there. So once it has landed at 61.8, if at all we take that as A, B, C around here, then your D could potentially reach downwards at 1.618, which is here, right? We have got there we go. So we got a bit of a range going on at the moment of prices coming lower. We do have lower lows here, higher lows as well. Sorry, lower highs and lower lows. Okay, and we're waiting for prices to go under this, to penetrate through these lines to reach this area here. So a bit of a correction, meaning downward move for the silver as well as gold, but a little bit on the upside correction for oil. Okay, all right guys, let's see what's going on here. All right, now we have got a candle here. Okay, let's see. All right, that's for USD CHF. I'm just checking through the other pairs at the moment. AUD JPY, we have got a very interesting AUD JPY. We did see appreciation of price following this ABCD pattern, and it went up to this area here. Now it went up to that area here at about, let me just check, 86.34 at the moment. Okay, so 86.34. All right, that's the area there. Probably short, a little short of the target here, but we not want to adjust that to cycle number. Okay, but here on the AUD JPY, we may have this W-like pattern here as I draw. Okay, so we do have something here, and it is reversing at the moment here, so this could actually be as low as 50 or 61.8, so we take that one here. So if prices does fall, it could fall anyway between anyway to 84.36 to 81.83.90. Okay, so that is what's going on at the moment. We do have corrections, as you can see. You've got a little A, B, C, D downwards as well. Okay, this is quite a nice W-like pattern. All right, we do see a possibility here as well. Let's see. Yes, more on the downside in the long term, so that W that you see on a shorter term does actually confirm more move to the downside for the AUD versus the JPY. All right, Euro JPY. Now, before I open it, I would like to I've covered a few patterns here, but I would like you guys to ask if you've got any questions on any particular pair that you want to ask on directly on patterns that are spotted, or perhaps you want to share and let me know of the pattern that you have spotted and the traits that you are on at the moment, and we can discuss them. Okay, so I'd like to open the webinar to you guys now to ask me questions, and we shall then deal with it. Okay guys, that's basically what's going on at the moment. I've showed you GBP, we've got on Aud Jpy, GBP USD, the gold and the silver and oil as well. Alright, any questions at all guys? Anything that you want to ask me so we can go on to the pairs that you're looking at?
Okay. Do you have, let me check, do you have Skype? Okay, if you want to
No
add me on
questions at all?
Skype,
Nobody?
okay, please do so, because
I
I
think we
do
may
get
have some questions coming up.
messages on a daily basis.
But if you've got any pair in particular that you are looking at or trading, feel
So
free. Type it
that's
on the
easier
box
for
and
me to
we shall
actually,
address them.
forward them
Okay,
to you.
let's see.
Okay, just write it down. I'm gonna give it to you now.
All right,
Okay.
anyone trading gold at the moment?
So it's
Adam, let's
Massimo.
try GBP JPY, says Adam. Fantastic, let's do that right away. GBP JPY, let's look at what's going on with GBP JPY. Do I have it here on my platform? Perhaps not. Let's go to GBP JPY.
Dot Orbex. Okay, so
There we go.
yeah, M
All
A
right,
double
GBP
S
JPY indeed.
then
There we
I
go.
M O dot Orbex.
We
You
have got
actually need not log
Vincent.
in
You are
order to
selling the Euro
use
GBP. Okay, so now I've got
your
pairs coming
GBP.
through. All right, so GBP JPY. Let me just write that down. Euro
Yeah,
GBP.
that's fine.
Yes.
Listen, I'm gonna accept it. Okay. And
Yes, you can, Kim John. You are hearing to Massimo from the very end, because I'm actually in the trading sort of room very close to the sales area. So yes, that is indeed Massimo, and I'll send his regards to you. Oh, your regards to him.
then I'm gonna check if
Okay.
the slides are loading
Potential
now.
downtrend for Vincent on the Euro GBP. Yes, sure, no problem.
Yeah, there you are.
Brilliant. Okay, let's see. Ganesan, you have got a question as well.
It's
Ganes's question was on GBP USD. Sorry, that was earlier on. And Adam GBP JPY. Let's go on to Adam's GBP JPY. Let's do that very quickly and go on to trend lines, meaning moving averages. Got the 50 right there. Okay, trend. I mean, hence the reason, starting with the base of trend itself, it's, quite an important part of understanding the trend, so that you would be able to also draw out or spot patterns correctly. Because if not for the trend, then you might actually go through confusion for the pattern itself. Okay, let me just, all right, let's look at what's going on with GBP JPY. It's a long way upwards. It's looking at, it's got a very good angle on the 1 hour chart. It's showing loads of room upwards. The angle itself, you could actually see the 3 EMA lines, the 50, the 100 and 200 EMAs. You could look at it, quite far apart from each other, pointing upwards. It's a good sign. It's a good sign for the strength of the trend. Okay, so it is indeed showing lots of room upwards. We may have a bit of an ABCD here. Not really, because I wouldn't consider this as a nice ABCD unless the C should minimum touch 38.2. There may be a little bit of potential here if I start my A here. So let's look at what's going on here. Um, Very interesting. This one is very interesting. Let me just change that first. Let's say I'm taking my pattern from here. Okay, the reason why I've taken my A from here, not here, is because when I pulled it from down here, my potential C didn't actually, or was not that close to the 38.2, and I like my C to be usually close to or touching the 38.2 at least minimum. Okay, so I usually ignore 23.6 as my C level. So if I move that to this point here, then I get that closer to my 38.2. Okay, so then I consider this one here as my A point, B, okay, and then C here, all right. Now if I take that same length and I go all the way up here, as you can see, this is quite on the dot of where prices just reversed. Okay, so that is the potential ABCD at the moment here. All right, now let's look at what's going on here. Okay, let's look at it at a bigger picture. Okay, we have got more room on the upside. Okay, in terms of trend on the 1 hour chart, but we look at, let's start AW on this side here. Okay, right, let's look at, we have, that was a W initially, we have got it right at the 78.6, very sharp on 78.6. Okay, so initially we had in ABCD here earlier. Okay, sorry about that, and ABCD here. Okay, all right. Okay, so we had an ABCD that went on earlier, and then went above this D point here, and now another A, B, C, D here. Okay, so it's showing more room on the upside. The reason for that as well is this may be a W-like pattern, supposed to turn around, didn't turn around but went up again. So once it went up and it failed the W-like pattern, it means it's got more strength to the upside. Okay, if we go onto the 4-hour chart, we could see that there are room for it to actually start falling. Perhaps if you look at this area here, look left, you could see loads of resistance around here, and hence the reason we have got more room on the upside. And upside may be a correction, because when you go onto the daily chart for GBP, you could see that we have got lots of risk area, the 50, the 100, and the 200. So yes, it may have some room to the upside, maybe in between, but it's a risky time. But we are looking at more potential to the downside on the daily chart. The reason being, you've got the waves actually correcting and following the flow of the 3 moving average downwards. So definitely strongish on the downside. But again, we need to look at what prices are doing. We could see that it's 160.62. So the 160 itself, it has gone above the 50. So we're looking at perhaps correction. At this moment of time, it's best for us to wait till prices actually go under the lines in order for us to get a better, clearer downside trend for the GBP on the daily chart. Okay, let's look at what's going on now. As of now, we've got more strength on the downside as well. 5-minute chart. On the 1-hour chart, we do have again the same thing. So that is where we're looking at 5-minute chart and 1-hour chart, showing us loads of candle, showing us this recent candle now gaining strength on the downside, moving downwards. Okay, and the price itself, perhaps it's trying to go towards the 50 and go under the 50. We've got to wait at this moment of time in order for us to know what the exact trend is for the GBP JPY. Okay. All right, that is the GBP JPY, guys, on the for Adam. Adam, have you got any specific question on the GBP JPY, Adam? Perhaps there's something that you're not quite sure on it. It looks like a potential, if at all, a downside move, an ABCD to the downside, aiming at on the 1-hour chart at the 159 area, 159.47 area. Okay, because we're seeing a smooth fall of the GBP versus the pound at the moment. All right. Okay, we also have the Euro GBP. Okay, let's look at Euro GBP. Euro JPY here. Let's look at Euro GBP. All right. What's going on with the Euro GBP, guys? Let's see. I mean, just with the angle itself, it's a very smooth downwards angle. Okay, it is strengthening angle wise to the downside. We have got some correction at the moment, but again, we need to apply the 50, 100, 200, start of 200 indicators trend wise, moving average on 100. Okay,
So I'm actually thinking first deposit would be
right, so then indicators trend, moving average 50.
how
Alright.
much?
Okay, so we have got more strength to the downside, as we can see on the 1 hour chart, quickly moving to the 4 hour and the daily. Daily slightly different than a 1 hour, 4 hour. Okay, we have got strength of the downside from 1 hour to 4 hour, lots of strength, especially on the 4 hour, and looks like strengthening downtrend even for the long term. So there's a lot of sign to the downside for the euro. Okay, now here itself we may have a potential of a Z-like pattern here. Okay, there is a potential on the daily chart that prices, if at all the strength persists on the downside, Euro GBP could potentially fall to the 0.7605 area. I would like to confirm and look at whether that area is 50% of this long move. It may not be exactly on the 50%, but it is pretty close to the 50%, which also means that if at all prices come downwards to this zone, this may confirm a Z-like pattern, but then a Z-like pattern usually means its shape would be like this, okay, all the way up, and then it'll start to come down at least to this 50% level and then up again. Okay, so that is what's happening on the daily chart for the euro versus the GBP. Okay, let's erase all drawing. Let us erase that GBP USD, remove that one there, and go back to 4 hour chart. 4 hour is giving you loads of room again, loads of dominance of bearish candles under all three lines. Okay, only 1 hour again tried to correct itself there, coming down. Now prices is actually appreciating, but you have got risk there. You have got all these three lines. The three lines on the 1 hour chart, the three EMAs is apart, signaling downward momentum. Okay, it's clean, it's downward momentum at the moment. So yes, that is basically the pattern you can see on the daily chart. So prices is indeed giving more room, more momentum to the downside. Okay, let's look at 5 minutes chart. Now 5 minute is really interesting. It's confirming more room to the downside. Why? Because we have got this one here. Okay, ABCD pattern. Look at the ABCD pattern. Really nice, clean ABCD pattern, right? Okay, look at that. Right? Why I say that it may be reversing, because we do have a potential W-like pattern here. Okay, that is where it was expected. Didn't actually reach that area here, but you see prices start to resist very close to the 200 moving average. Okay, didn't manage to go up, not much, and it's sort of scared to move too high up, too far above, because you've got the wall, you've got the 200 EMA there. Well, let's use Fibonacci a little bit, play around with Fibonacci and Euro GBP. Now we're looking at a 5 minutes chart. We have got C resting at the 50. Okay, when C rests at the 50, the D could rest at the 200 moving average. So sorry, 200 Fibonacci. So 200 is right up there. Didn't actually reach there either. Okay, so we have got higher targets, but very much lower prices begin to weaken. So what does that mean? That means we don't have enough buyers. We were filled, the orders were filled by sellers more than buyers. So hence the reason we're looking at this. 7783, look at 83. So we want to be sure whether or not it will fall much more. We need to wait and look at the 5-minute chart and look at whether prices could fall under 80, at least at 7770. Then we've got more room, more confident to think of prices falling down even more. Okay, that is what's happening with the Euro GBP. So more strength to the downside overall from the lower time frames to the higher time frame. All you need to do is go to lower time frame and look for smaller patterns and trade in lower time frame with smaller number of pips, smaller pattern, but trade in stages. Okay, that's a Euro GBP, and then we have got we've seen GBP JPY and Euro GBP. Okay, I think that's what we have actually covered. Have I got any more requests on other pairs at all that you guys are looking at? Just remind me if I have actually missed out. Yes. Okay, so if not, if no pairs at all, that basically that means that we would need to wrap up very soon. If I've got no questions, I will wrap up and see you guys again on Wednesday. For those live account holders, we could meet me again and go into troubleshooting on the pairs that you are trading, look into the price, look into it more detail on patterns you're trading. But Wednesday session, same time, every Wednesday at 2 p.m. GMT, we do the same thing, but a little more into troubleshooting specific pairs, and that's only for live account holders. So let's see. Got questions? Okay, advice, Ganesan. Ganesan, your advice on question. Okay, Mr. Ganesan, you want to plot pivot point using MT4, but you cannot separate resistance and support and pivot point so that we can. So you want to separate resistance and support and pivot point in order to put order after you pass the pivot point. With this one here, you see that the thing is, Mr. Ganesan, we have got. I would say by default certain types of indicators that are available here in the insert section here. Okay, for some specific type of how do you call that, indicators, you would need to insert them as a plugin. So you would need to insert them until they appear in the custom area here, and then you can use them. As far as I know, I don't actually use the pivot point indicator, so I'm not best to advise you on how you can actually put that pivot point. The pivot point indicator that you're talking about is probably available either free or you have to pay for outside, like a plugin. Okay, then you download it, and then only then it would appear, and then you link it into your MT4, because what's available here, we don't actually have the pivot points in here in the list. Here I don't see them as well. I rarely use them, but it depends what you want, how you want to use them. But I think you would need to separately insert them first. Find them first. What you can do is that you can find them first. Okay, which plugin, what kind of indicator and all that are available on MT4, and then you can go onto the live chat in Orbex and ask for assistance on how you can actually insert them. Okay. I'm not sure of this one here, Mr. Ganesan. So it is there under Orbex MT4. Could you show me? Could you tell me where exactly it is? Where do I go? Do I go under Insert and then Indicators? Could you tell me where, and I will try to insert them now. Okay, Mr. Ganesan, are you there? You have where do I go to actually insert the indicator that you're talking about? I don't see them here. Actually, let me just see. Perhaps best, Mr. Ganesan, you could also go into our live chat and see whether you could actually get the how do you call that, get the guidance from the support. Insert indicator, custom daily pivot point. Okay, could you see it on my chart at the moment? Custom insert indicators, I don't see them here under the one that you have it here. Okay, perhaps a better thing to do, Mr. Ganesan, is to go on to our live chat. You go on to orbex.com and question them on the live chat. Yeah, Orbex live chat. Our support team will be happy to help you. Okay, see whether they can actually help you there, please. All right, brilliant. Thank you. Okay, so if at all I have actually covered most questions on trades, on the pairs, then we shall wrap this one up, and I hope I have not missed on any other pairs that you guys are looking for. But for those live account holders, we can go into it in more detail on Wednesdays. Okay, Wednesdays, as I've mentioned, same time. Okay, same time on Wednesday. Also, there were some questions as well for those, just before I go on ECN account as well as non-ECN account. Okay, I would like you guys to go on to our website. I will briefly tell you a little bit about the ECN and non-ECN. The ECN and non-ECN account, the differences could be found here on account types. Okay, so if you go on to account types under traders account type, you're able to look at a table that differentiates between ECN and non-ECN account types. All right, so you will get a table like this. Now it needs for ECN type and non-ECN. Now ECN stands for Electronic Communication Network, which actually means that our prices has got no interference, meaning those who see that what do you call that, they want to get the best price possible and work with prices that are closest to what the interbank provides with no interruption, best trading conditions and all that, they usually choose ECN. But once you are under the ECN accounts, you have two types of ECN accounts. They all differ between the minimum deposit, the leverage, the spreads. They have commissions as well. They may not, they allow mostly ECN type account allows scalping, hedging, expert advisors and everything else. So it's best for you to actually look into these tables, the differences between ECN type accounts and universal type account, and look at what you need as a trader. If at all you need to actually what do you call that, scalp and hedge, and mainly to scalp, for example, then this account type here, the universal account, may not be suitable because you would need to then go to ECN. So one of the major advantage of ECN is its trading conditions, meaning that even though the spreads are not fixed, but they come directly from the interbanks, our liquidity provider. So there's no sort of interference of any sort, okay, that comes through directly from the interbank. So if at all you don't mind paying commissions, but you want the best possible prices and you want to have more freedom in trading with different types of methods of style like scalping and all that, then it will be best for you to choose the ECN type accounts as opposed to the universal accounts. So universal accounts, as you can see on the table itself, you could have various categories for you to choose from what's important for you as a trader, and then you choose the type of account accordingly. Okay, so you would need to look at trading instruments as well and look at whether the type of trading instrument are actually fitting what you want. If you are actually a what do you call that, if you are actually a trader that looks into more trading instruments, for example, like commodities, indices, futures, and all that, then you want to look into the universal type accounts, okay, because they cover more as opposed to ECN. ECN, as you can see, your foreign exchange type currencies as well as gold, silver, that's limited to that. Okay, so I hope I answer your questions on that. For those who are interested in knowing or have asked me earlier about the differences between ECN accounts and non-ECN accounts. But for more information, kindly go onto our website, or feel free to go onto our live chat and ask questions there, and they'll be happy. Our support team will be happy to guide you through and answer your questions. Okay. Kim John has got a question. Commission $10 per lot. Yes. It's $10. No, it's $10 per trade. That means per lot, per trade, in and out. Sorry, it's per trade. Yes, that's correct. One lot, $10 per one lot traded. Yes, because this is coming directly from the interbank, so this is usually a sort of a standard practice for commissions to be charged. It's a connection between us as a broker and the banks, the connection. That's hence the word network. Yeah. Okay, electronic communications network. That's why we go through a direct communication with them. So in order to use that facility of direct transactory prices, you would need that commissions to be charged per lot. Okay, all right, guys. So I'll just wrap it up here, and I hope I've answered questions on the accounts as well. But please come back to us on our live chat. And if there's anything else, you guys can always email me directly, and I'll give you my email address is kenny@orbex.com. I'll just type it here. Okay, kenny@orbex.com. I'm most open to answer your questions using your screenshots as well. Okay, so if there's any questions, feel free, and you can ask me questions there as well. All right, guys, I shall wrap it up here, and I want to say a big thank you to you guys, and I'll see you either Wednesday for those real account holders or next Monday for another live session. Okay, so have a very good evening, and thank you very much. Okay, guys, bye-bye.